Because most Americans don't have a will. According to a recent report, only about 30% of American adults had a will last year. And that could be very costly for their families. Let's talk about that now. Joining us is caregiver advocate and coach Linda Burhans and elder law attorney Sean Scott. Thank you, Sean and Linda, both for being here. Sorry we didn't save you any hot dogs.
It looks pretty good.
Too many hot dogs could lead to
premature.
So let's talk about important documents that everyone really should have. And you were telling us it's important to think about that if something happens to me tomorrow, I choke on that delicious hot dog I was eating and things don't go the right way. Who is legally authorized to step in on my behalf?
Are you dead or are you alive?
Well, it depends on the hot dog, I guess. Let's say
It's important distinction, actually.
this is morbid, but let's say I'm dead.
Okay, so you're dead. So now somebody needs to fill your shoes, right?
Right.
And when they fill your shoes, they need to kind of temporarily be you. And how they do that usually is through a will where they're appointed as your personal representative, that's the official word, to be you to kind of wrap up all of your affairs. And that's probate, judge, lawyer, document.
I guess the follow-up question would be, let's say I'm not dead, I'm incapacitated.
Correct. Totally different situation. So instead of going through the court process, the best plan is usually to have a co-pilot appointed for you. Co-pilots come in two different forms, one for medical stuff and one for financial stuff. Financial document that does that, a durable power of attorney. The medical version of that is a healthcare surrogate in Florida, essentially a medical power of attorney.
So power of attorney for medical, financial. Linda, you wanted to
I
jump
was
in
gonna
there?
say, you don't have to have the same co-pilot for both.
Oh no, you can
Okay.
you can split the duty up for sure. A lot of times that happens because my daughter, she's really good on the medical side, and my son, he's a good financial planner. So I'm gonna let him do the financial stuff, and I'll let my daughter do the medical stuff.
You're lucky to have a child that specializes in each. A
Yes,
lot of us
exactly.
don't have that.
This is how I'm gonna take care of my retirement.
And you're on the screen some of these important documents we're talking about here and things that you really want to have lined up. What happens if someone passes away without a will, though?
Yeah, that's kind of a problem. You really haven't told us what you want to do. And if you haven't told us who's in charge and where you want it to go, then somebody's going to ask the court to be in charge. Hey, Judge, I'd like to be him temporarily. And then the statute has a kind of a plan where your stuff goes. So it doesn't go to the state, by the way. It'll go to your family, but through a...
But it takes a long, you're at the mercy of the courts and
Yep.
going through the process there, right? Do people need an attorney to create a will, or is it, I've got to
I love
imagine
that
with all of
question.
the online resources out there, is there a way we can draw one up for ourselves?
Well, there's this thing called Dr. Google, where you probably should not use Google as your doctor. You probably shouldn't use Google as your lawyer either. I think I'm still relevant in this situation. It's a tendency to say, oh, I can just hit that form and hit that button, ChatGPT. Why don't ChatGPT do it for me? No, I've actually gone and tested these things to do that. It's not going to be right. Plus, you got to sign it correctly. It has to be notarized and witnessed. So there's all these little pieces. It's not just a document that you buy at
Well,
Home Depot.
and I've seen caregivers that have gone to an attorney somewhere else or whatever, and the documents were still terrible.
Oh, really?
Everything wasn't filled out correctly. There was different dates. There are certain documents that have to be initialed, and if they're not initialed, doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Or they move here from another state, Florida, right? You need to get it reviewed. It's not the same.
That's a good point there. Linda, you work with a lot of caregivers. What have you experienced when someone doesn't have a will and passes away?
A nightmare. Now you have people arguing about what you want to do. Things are out of your control. It's not in your control. But it's not even so much the will. The worst part is not having your documents while you're alive.
Yeah, it's
Right.
a power of
So
attorney
that
thing.
your family can take care of you, so your wishes can, because I'm telling you, when it comes to the end, it really doesn't matter.
Tell us more about power of attorney.
I mean,
What is that?
and
Well stated there.
Yeah,
But-
just as-
so-
You're
you're not. Yeah, you're. I'm not. After I
Yeah.
choke on that hot dog, I'm not worried
It's
about
not
it.
your problem.
Yeah. But tell us why power of attorney is so
Well,
important.
this is a big deal because, not to joke about the fact that you're dead, but when you're alive and incapacitated, who's speaking on your behalf? Who's going to talk to the world? And I'm a prime example of this. Not too long ago, I got run over by a truck, literally.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
really bad. I was in neurointensive care for 3 months. I was offline, and so I had to have somebody fill my shoes during that period of time. Talk to my doctor on my behalf, make decisions whether I lived or died, and also to take care of my financial affairs, pay my bills, take care of that. Well, who's going to do that if I haven't told you who's supposed to do that?
Right.
Power of attorney and healthcare surrogate solves that problem. And
You,
what that
you were fine though.
we think.
His brother wasn't so fine though.
His brother was the power of attorney. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
So another important document to have, though, estate planning.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily documents, but it's something that everyone needs to take care of, right? Linda, what do you suggest?
Yeah.
So my feeling is, and with so many of my caregivers, care is expensive.
Yeah.
Care is very expensive, especially if you have to go into a memory care or something like that. And most people are not prepared for that. But there are ways you can find help. What you need is to go to Sean or another elder care
Yep,
attorney
absolutely.
and protect the assets that you do have. Because a lot of people say, just spend it down, spend it down, spend it down, and when there's nothing left, they'll help you. No, that's not gonna happen. And I don't wanna spend it down, and then when my husband passes away, I have nothing.
Right.
I have nothing. But there are legal ways where
Right.
you can put your money into a trust and save those assets for yourself and be
And-
able to apply for
And your
an event.
family as well. So if I were, sometimes I get a question, well, Sean, what am I supposed to do here, right? I'm old and what am I supposed to do? And I've kind of broken it down into three main areas, three things you should be looking at. One, make sure you got that incapacity plan in place. Make sure you have a co-pilot that can fly the plane if you can. Make sure you have some sort of documents or plan in place where your stuff goes when you die. That's kind of important. Please tell us and tell us who you want.
Yes.
It's not hard to do. And then the third piece, which is what Linda's alluding to, is when you get old, you might need to care either in your home, in an assisted living facility, or maybe in a nursing home. That's like $10,000 to $15,000 a month.
Oh my goodness.
How are you gonna
Yeah.
pay for that? Well, we have plans to fix that, so.
Yeah, well, this is all great advice, and clearly, we could talk for
Days.
we need a half-hour special on this here. So if you have questions along these lines, reach out to an expert, like in law, like Sean is an elder care
Yeah, that's what they
attorney.
call it.
Linda Brands is a caregiver advocate, and she can connect you with people that
Yeah.
can help as well. It's just important to think about these things, ask these questions, and have a plan in place.
Make a
right?
plan,
Yeah,
don't
make
wait
a-
until you're in duress.
Kind of like hurricane season, right?
Yeah.
We gotta have a plan, Val. We don't want to have to use it, but it's there if we need it.
Good to have a plan. Good?
Good job.
Okay, we're
You know,
good.
we really could do a longer form thing on
I
this.
think we should.